Hey guys, welcome back to Senegalese Twisted. Today I'm back again with another review on Maîtresse de Homme marié. Today I'm going to talk about season 2 episode 11, and oh my god, a lot has happened in this episode as well, so I'm not gonna talk too much about it because that's what this video is for. So let's get into the first scene. In the first scene, you can see that Dalanda is so mad, and in the previous episode you could see that she and the kids made themselves beautiful. They made a whole meal surprise for their dad because Tairu had his birthday, but he didn't make it. So in this scene she was so mad, and Tairu has the balls to just come in there and ask Dalanda, hey, how are you? And it was not, you know, like a logical reaction, but then his phone rings and he doesn't pick up. And Dalanda's like, you know what, you can just pick up, put it on speakerphone, tell your hoe that I want to hear your hoe. I think that's what she said. And I think that her point here was more to say that, you know what, I don't care what you do, but do it when you're not at home with us. And she actually said that, you know, tell her to call when you are at work, or at least when you're not at home. So then she starts to say that, you know what, everything that you are is because of me. I made you, I built you, I created you. And she is emphasizing to him that, you know what, you will not dispose me as garbage, and I'm not just someone. And I think that this was something really shocking for Tairu, because he was like, are you okay? Do you hear yourself? And she's like, you know what, don't even take off your clothes in here, because you're not gonna sleep in the bedroom. You can go on the couch. And then he goes, takes off his clothes, he lies on the couch, and you see that both of them could not even sleep. The next scene, you see that, you know, Lala is she made breakfast, and she's like, you know what, this is just to apologize for last night, and I hope you slept well. And I think that she was just talking about, you know, if you decide to divorce me, then it will be, first of all, it will be hard for her to find someone else. But I think that that's what she eventually wants, to find someone that would, you know, support her and her kids. And then of course Cher is like, what do you want? And she starts to explain that, you know what, I cannot imagine waking up in another house. I cannot imagine, you know, getting to know someone from scratch. And then she's like, well, even though I don't imagine myself waking up in another house or getting to know another man intimately, and even though I don't, I do know that, you know, you have your choice, because she put the ultimatum on him and he had to choose between Marem and Lala. So Marem, I mean, Cher is like, well, Lala, I love you, and I love Marem too, and Marem is a good person, and the only thing that's different from her and you is that, you know, you came from a stable household. You had so many people support you, because if you didn't have that, you would not be who you are today and be able to live the life you have today. And Marem does not have that, and even my mom supports you. And I think this is more related to the fact that mother-in-laws in Senegal usually are cruel, but Mère Diagne really seems to like Lala and see her as her own child. And Cher just pointed this out to Lala, and Lala, because Lala was really defensive, because she was like, yeah, and you can already see what choice you made, and you are always taking her side, you're always defending her. And she was just really a bit insecure. But Cher, you know, explained to her that, you know, the reason I'm so close to Mariam is because she doesn't have anyone. Like what you have and the support you have, the family you have, like she doesn't have that. And also her mom is mentally ill, and he just asked Lala to give Mariam a chance, because he also talked about, you know, you should have been the person to tell me to you know, put our hands together and support Mariam, because you guys are both women, and there should be, you know, some sort of sisterhood or alliance between women. And I thought this was really beautiful that he was able to, you know, have a decent conversation with Lala about Mariam without the threats, without the ultimatums, and without the shouting and everything. The next scene is Ben, and she is really complaining to Dalanda. Well, actually she's attacking her, because she's complaining about how the girl that washes their clothing always washes Ben's clothes together with the clothes of the children, and she doesn't want that. And she also says that, you know what, even you and Tairo, your clothes are not washed by this person and with the clothes of the children. And she says that she doesn't want that either, and why should she have her clothes washed with the children's clothes if they don't have it? And Dalanda was like, well, she doesn't wash professional clothing, and we bring our clothing to the laundromat. And she, like, Ben was like, well, my clothing is also professional. Even the clothing I sleep in, the clothing I go to the toilet with, is all professional and should not be mixed with the clothing of the children. And I think that Dalana was more like, okay, well, girl, whatever. She just stood up and she just went away, because I think that Ben is just making every single thing a big thing while it shouldn't. And I think these scenes are so important with Ben and Dalanda and her own brother, because I think that in a lot of Senegalese households, this is how it is actually going, and that people are so terrible because, as I said before, like, women are usually expected to live with their in-laws and with their husband's family. And the thing is that you never know what happens behind closed doors. And I've heard a lot of stories about how terrible mother-in-laws and sister-in-laws can actually be. So if you have a chance to marry someone, like in Senegal, wherever, and you have to live, and you have the choice or the option to not live with in-laws, take the chance. You don't know how lucky you are. The next scene is Tairo and his twins, and I think he was just eating breakfast, and I actually thought that the twins were going to have breakfast as well, but they were just there to have a word with their dad. And yeah, so he was actually apologizing and saying to the twins that, you know what, I'm really sorry, and I'll put in more effort next time, and I know you guys put in a lot of effort for my surprise and everything. And one of the twins is like, don't apologize to us, you have to apologize to mom, because she put in a lot of love for your surprise. And then the other twin is like, well, if you give me an iPhone 11, all will be forgiven, you know. But then she continues to say that, you know what, I think that you need to buy a bouquet of flowers, you need to buy gold, and you have to ask for forgiveness to mom. And then they continue to say that, you know what, if you hurt her, you're actually hurting us. And I think that they just mean that, you know, our mom is really hurt by your behavior, and the only way that you can make it up to us is actually to make it up to her, because our happiness and love comes actually from her. And I thought that was so sweet. And the other twin was like, well, if you hurt her or you not making her happy, we will not allow it. And remember, we are two to ruin your life. And I thought that that was really good, because the dad always jokes with them to say that they're terrible. And I thought that was really cute and also really important, because once again, children know more than you think they know. The next scene is a scene where we see Marem's boss, the lady from Ivory Coast, and she's talking to the business partner, whose name is Salif, and the woman's name is Alida, I believe. And they're in their brand new apartment, and they're just, you know, updating each other. So the woman has the intel, and she's just telling him that, you know what, Cher's wife came back, and since then there has been a lot of problems. And I think she explains that, you know, she has some leaked footage, videos, pictures of her, and she's actually asking him, you know, do you want to see? And he's like, no, I don't want to butt into other people's business, and I don't want to feed off of people's misery, and I don't want to see it. And she did say to him that, you know, we know her, and because it's Marem. And I think that this is her Salif, because he keeps saying to Sheikh that, you know what, it's a Senegalese woman who took my heart. And the fact that he does not want to know, and that she does not just say that, you know, it's Marem, it really annoys me, because you know that this season is going to end with some third degree, first degree drama, because they did not want to say, or they did not want to know. And they end this scene when the guy is actually telling the woman that, you know what, I just want to continue this partnership, and I did not come to Dakar to play, so let's just make the best out of it. Next scene is where you see Amsa visiting Mère Diagne, and she's just, you know, Mère Diagne, how are you? And how's your hunger strike going on? I've heard that you are refusing to eat. But of course, Mère Diagne is like, who the hell are you? What do you want? And she's explaining to him that, you know, to her that, you know, I am Marem's friend. And she gives this huge side eye. But Amsa, you know, picks up on it, and she's like, no, Mère Diagne, I did not come here for any trouble. Marem did not send me. Sheikh did not send me. I just want to talk to you about this whole situation, you know. And she says that, Mère Diagne, you mean so much to Sheikh, but you should not forget that, you know, Marem means a lot to Sheikh as well. And if you broke this marriage, of course Marem is going to cry, but don't forget that Sheikh will cry even harder. And I think that Mère Diagne was like, what, so what, you're a mediator now? And she's, you know, continuing to say that, you know, this marriage, it's over. I don't want to have anything to do with it, and if I'm done with it, you know, the marriage will be done. And Amsa's like, oh no, Mère Diagne, it's not over, because he still won't let her go. And at the end, Mère Diagne is like, you know what, I'll find the best marabout in Senegal, and I will kill her, or at least make her go crazy. And I think that this is something that really scared Amsa, because homegirl was out of there. Next is Salif, the business partner, confronting Raki in the same apartment where he met with Alida, the boss of Marem, when she was in Ivory Coast. And he's more, you know, trying to fish for information, because he's like, well, I think that your family problems extend the drinking problems of your brother, because I've heard that Cher's wife is back, and you know, it has a negative effect on him, and it really affects the business. And of course, Raki, she was like, what are you talking about? You know, like, as if, you know, she did not know about this, or she never noticed this. So he is, you know, telling Raki that, you know what, you need to take this seriously, because I did not come all the way from Ivory Coast, and I did not invest all this fortune in this company for some amateurism. And that's the end of that scene. In the next scene, you see that Amsa is back with Maîtresse to talk about, you know, what went on with marié. And I think that what marié told Amsa really scared her. And that's why she went out of there real quick. And Maîtresse is actually, you know, doing her makeup, and they're teasing a bit, because Maîtresse's like, yeah, I'm making myself pretty because, you know, I'm Mrs. Yang, and you know, I have to be great and look good. And Amsa makes the comment of, you know, well, enjoy it while it lasts. And she then asks Maîtresse to, you know, I need you to stop this marriage. And of course, Maîtresse is in shock because of everything that they went through and their previous, you know, conversation. And she's asking Amsa, are you crazy? And Amsa explains that, you know, Cher explained the family problems, and also that his mother refuses to eat, is on a hunger strike. And of course, Maîtresse is like, you know what, let me talk to her and reason with her. And all Amsa can say is that, you know what, marié, she's not normal, she's not human. And of course, that's not something that Maîtresse can see, because she's like, well, but I love him and he loves me. And then of course Amsa's like, you know what, she is willing to go to a marabout and kill you, or have you killed, go crazy. And she's like, you know what, when she said that, I took my stuff and left. And Maîtresse is like, well, I'd rather die than not be with Cher. And of course Amsa had to, you know, put some sense into her, because she was like, well, it's not about you alone, is it? Because, you know, you have your mom, you have me, and it's not worth it to die just because of Cher and leave me and your mom behind. And I think that she has a reason. No type of man is worth dying for, except maybe your son. Next scene is Raki and Cher in the same apartment, and Cher is telling Raki that, you know what, I did a good thing making you the chief of operations, because of your hard work we have, you know, buildings, apartments like these. And he's actually suggesting that, you know what, maybe I'll take Maîtresse here and live with her in this house. And he's actually telling Raki that, you know what, I'll give you a big raise and a big bonus, because, you know, you're the reason why we have this partnership. And with Mr. Traoré, because the guy is named Salif Traoré. And he's saying that, you know, I don't want to lose the partnership. It's really important. And of course Raki had to say that, you know what, Mr. Traoré, he is not happy with us. And of course Cher does not see this, and he's like, why? And Raki explains to him that, you know what, since your wife's back, you know, it looks like our company has been like a market, because you know Biram does not respect anyone, he does not take anyone serious, and you are someone who takes their problems at home to work, and it's just not professional. And she's also asking him to next time leave your problems at home. And then of course Sheikh is opening up to Rocky, because after all it's also his half sister, and he's saying that, yeah, well, everyone at home wants me to divorce Marem. And he does not understand, because he's asking Rocky like, why? And of course Rocky's like, well, I cannot say much because, you know, first of all, it does not concern me and I don't know the whole situation, but I have one question. Is one woman worth it to, you know, to lose everything, your family, your company? And Sheikh is telling Rocky that, you know what, my dad lost so much when he did not take responsibility for marrying your mom and having you. And of course Rocky's like, well, this is not the same situation. And of course this is also not something that Sheikh can see, because for him it's the same thing, because he sees it as if him taking responsibility for Marem, you know, avoids a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, while he only sees that, you know, Rocky, you did not grow up with a father, you know, with two parents, and you lost, you know, a whole part of your life because my dad was not strong enough and not courageous enough to take responsibility for your mom and for you. And Rocky tells him that, you know what, you don't have a child with her, so it's not the same thing. And in the end she's just saying that, you know what, you have to ask yourself, if one woman is worth losing the rest. In the next scene, you see that Biram is actually pleading with Merjane and asking her, you know, please drink something. And then Marem walks in and Biram gets so mad at her and he actually wants her to get out. But Marem is pleading, and eventually Merjane is like, you know, let her stay. So she sits down, and at one point Marem is asking, you know, Biram, sweetheart, please let us talk amongst girls and let me talk to my mom. And the first thing is that Biram gets mad and he's like, I'm not your sweetheart and she ain't your mom. And eventually, you know, Merjane again speaks up and is like, let her talk, and nothing she says can actually shock me anymore. And eventually Biram leaves and Marem starts to really talk, and she's like, you know, we started off with a lot of conflicts, we started on the wrong foot, and that, you know, kept us from actually knowing each other and being close. And there's one sentence that she says in Wolof, and that is tontu la njeke jange, meaning that, you know, talking back is the first thing that I actually learned. And that was only because I grew up without a father and a mentally ill mom. And I think that if you have, you know, one parent, or if your mom is mentally ill in Senegal, then a lot of people on the playground and people on the street will, you know, tease you for it, bully you for it, and they always have something to say about it. So she had to learn how to talk back. And she was also explaining that her mom and herself were always, you know, mistreated, and she was mistreated by everyone. Doesn't matter if that person was an old person, whether that person was young, her own age. And people would insult her, they would hit her and do otherwise. And she was actually pressing into Mère Diagne, and she was like, Diagne, just think about it. Being a kid in school, being scared to lose your mom when you go home because everyone is mistreating her, and her mom would probably be mistreated because she was mentally ill, so she would not have, you know, the idea of what was real. And sometimes when people are mentally ill, then people will do everything to get your money, to get stuff from you, without, you know, being consciously aware of the fact that maybe this person doesn't know what they're giving away, and people are not honest, and people actually try to benefit from you and use you for whatever it is that you have. And I think that is what Marème meant. And she was saying that, you know what, Marème is hard, and Marème is determined because of one thing, because she suffered so much. And she actually looks at Mère Diagne, and I mean, Mère Diagne actually looks at Marème, and Biram is on the background listening. And Marème explains that, you know, she had to count on her own courage and her own determination. And Mère Diagne was like, why are you telling me this? And Marème is saying that, you know, Cher has had a chance that I never had, and he at least has a family to protect him from anything. And if she could have that chance, she would definitely take it. She only has Amsa, and she never had someone to raise her or to teach her the ways of life. And Marème also said that she wants to reconstruct her life and to give herself that chance. And Mère Diagne was like, so? And Marème was like, well, whether you love me or not, I am not a hypocrite, and I don't cheat. And if you are afraid of being ashamed of your offspring because of me, then you don't have to worry, because I cannot have kids anyways. And this is what got Biram so shocked, because he's still listening in, and he, you know, his expression says all. And Marème ends the conversation by saying that, you know what, I want to be so close to you, Mère Diagne. Like, you take me as your child, as your friend. And Biram smiles because he knows that ain't gonna happen. And Marème continues, she's like, I want to learn from you. And at this point, I think that Marème and Mère Diagne actually have a connection, because Mère Diagne seems so hesitant. But then, of course, Marème is actually kneeling and pleading with Mère Diagne, and you actually see that Mère Diagne is about to give in. But of course, Mr. Biram Diagne has to ruin everything, because he's just ruining the moment. And Mère Diagne actually falls. The next scene is Dalanda, and she's on her phone laughing at a joke that Biram is telling on the phone. And they're also reminiscing the time where Biram got kicked out of class, and she's actually smiling. So Tairu comes in, and he wants to talk, and he's like, you know, I'm sorry, and I know you're mad. And if he had known, he knew that she was waiting for a surprise, and he did not, you know, want her waiting, but the job got in the way. And he's saying that, I miss you. And of course she's laughing because she is consumed by her phone. And this really triggers Tairu because it's like, who are you talking to? I'm talking to you and you're on your phone. And Dalanda only has to look at him and say, now you know what that's like. And Tairu asks her, like, who is that? And she is just explaining to him that, you know, it's an old friend who created a WhatsApp group. And oh my god, he's so funny. And Tairu says that, oh, if that amuses you or if that occupies you, you know, maybe you should invite them over. And she's actually agreeing. She's like, oh, that's actually a good idea. And of course, Tairu cannot let it go because he's like, let's go into our bedroom because I got something to tell you. And Dalanda, she has to play, you know, hard to get. And she's like, say it in here, because if it's only for talking, you know, you can say it in here since we're talking anyways. And Tairu actually scoots closer and is like sweet talking to her and is like, I really missed you, didn't you miss me? And he's teasing her with her clothing and she's like telling him to stop. And she's saying that, you know, the girls are next door, so please stop. And of course, Tairu cannot let it go because he's like, those are only excuses and just come with me, let's go to the other room. And eventually he just picks her up and they just go. And I thought that was really cute. However, the whole problem between them is not solved by, you know, having sex or, you know, having this cute intimate moment. And I think that they really should talk about what is between them, because at one point Tairu is like, well, I'm not attracted to you, and at the next point he's like feeling guilty because she had to wait all night for him while she had a surprise for him on his own birthday, and then he can put in the effort and be like, well, I missed you. Like, it's so bipolar to me that I would not like I can't. So the next scene is Marié with the doctor, and the doctor is saying that, you know what, Marié, you have a high pressure, you need to eat, and you actually need an IV. And she's like, I'll take it out if you put the IV in me, and I won't eat, I won't drink, I'd rather die. And the doctor is like, why? What is hurting you so much that you rather want to die? And she's like, my kids humiliate me constantly, and what will I do if Cher does not divorce Marem? And what will the others say? She's so worried about how other people her age would talk about her and how she is a failure because her son made some stupid choices. And she's saying that, you know what, I'm old, I should enjoy life, but I can't because they put all this stuff on me and they keep humiliating me. And the doctor's actually trying to reason with her, and he's like, well, if, you know, your son is really in love with this girl and she's a good person, I think that you should just accept her. And then the doctor goes downstairs and he, you know, gets to see Cher, and he's saying to Cher that, you know what, it's not good for your mom's health and she cannot support all that is going on, and you should not put this shame on her. And well, your brother ain't helping either with his drinking problems and everything. And he's actually giving Cher a advice to, you know what, if you can, you should put a psychological thing on this, because, you know, it can have a strain on her psychological being and she needs psychological support. And I think that then the scene goes to Cher trying to get on the stairs, but Biram blocking him. And Biram is actually blaming Cher for everything that's happening. He's like, so what, you want to pass me? Are you trying to kill mom? And how can you be here? Because after everything that you've done, you still did not lose anything, because you still have Lala, you still have Marem, you have your kids, everything, you know. And I think that this really stung Cher, because he was like, bro, I'm your older brother, you need to respect me. And I always supported you, even if I did not agree with what you were doing. And then, of course, he starts to compare Jalika with Marem, and he's like, well, if Jalika would be in the position of Marem, what would you do? And then Biram gets so mad, and he's like, it doesn't matter what Jalika did in her life, she was never a hoe. And I think that that is something that really hurts Biram, the fact or the thought that Marem is someone that everyone has seen her ass off on the internet. And I think that that's really crazy. So Biram is actually shifting blame, because he's saying that everything that happened to their mom is because of Marem, because she is the one that visited her and they talked. But of course, Biram, Cher did not know this. And Biram is like, you know what? I respected you, and I only had 2% of respect left. That's why I did not kick her ass. And he's emphasizing that since Marem came back, that everything has gone to hell. There's no peace no more. Only problems upon problems upon problems. And Cher wants to pass again, and Biram is like, over my dead body, if you want to pass through here, you will have to kill me. And if you try to pass, I'm gonna try to and kill you. The last scene is Marem. She's preparing for Cher to come home, and she has a table full of tea, she has drinks, she has food, fruits. And when Cher comes home, she is greeting him very lovely. She's like, hey my love, how are you? I actually have a surprise for you, please sit. And Cher does not sit. He's just standing there, and he's asking Marem, what were you doing at my mom's house? And Marem has to, you know, tell him the truth, because she's like, well, I actually came in peace, and I wanted to show her my, you know, my sincerity. And she's just telling him, you know, let's just eat. And he's like, I'm not hungry. And I didn't tell you to go there. And Marem is just telling him that, you know, I'm part of your family too. So Amsa tried and talked to your mom, but she didn't succeed. So I wanted to go there myself to make it better and show my good side. And Cher was telling her that, you know, you fucked shit up. And whew, I was actually really shocked. And I think that Marem was shocked as well, because she was like, well, it's your brother that effed up because he wanted to hit me, or he hit me. And Cher says he should have done worse than hitting you. And Marem is like getting defensive, because she's like, so if other people hurt me, you don't care? And I'm your wife, and even if I F up, I deserve respect, but I see that you are not even respecting me, and you only listen to what other people have to say about me, and then you come back to me and you accuse me of doing things. And the best expression in Wolof to say this is benenopo, which means you only have one ear. So it means that whatever people say, you believe it, and you don't believe, you know, what the person accused of things is saying to you. And I think that was really fitting, because at one point he's always defending Mariam, but now it's like he's already accusing her of being the reason why his mom ended up in the hospital, you know? And Cher is saying that, you know what, it is not enough for two people to be together just because of love. And I think this was really heartbreaking, because he was just saying that, you know what, we need to stop making mistakes, and me choosing you only increased all the mistakes. And you know I love you, and I know that you love me, and I won't love anyone the way that I have loved you. And even in my eyes, people can see that when I talk about you, that I really love you. And he's just talking about Lala, and that Lala was always there, and she supported me through every single thing. And she was also even ready to die for me. And I don't think that's a good thing, but whatever floats your boat. And he's also saying to Mariam that, you know what, compared to Lala, Lala was always there. She was always supporting me. She was always behind me. You just one day decided to leave, and you left. And when you came back, you effed everything up. And he's saying that he knows that he will never have someone like Lala Piam Jai. And then at the end, he's saying that Fasenala, meaning I'm divorcing you. And that means that he chose Lala. And he's also saying that he chose Lala, but Mariam does not really understand that he's really serious. And she's like, okay, Fasenale, okay. And then he's saying that, you know what, I am divorcing you to have stability in my life, to have peace, you know, to have connection with my mom, with my brother, with my children, with my wife, and for my company to thrive. And he's actually saying that, you know what, if you want to see the details of our divorce, just go see the divorce lawyer. And he's actually thanking her, and he's saying that I love you, I love you, I love you. And I know that if you love me this much, you have to know that I love you that much. And this is where Mariam actually realizes that he's serious. Then Mariam is like, are you serious? And don't forget what you did. Don't forget that you chose her, the person who ruined my life, the person that published all the videos and all the photos. And actually, you're right. She can give you children, but don't forget that I suffered so much because I love you, because I chose to be with you. And also, I will survive. I will stand up. I wish you all the happiness in the world. And then Cher is like, me too. And he leaves, and she cries so hard. And I think it's really sad to see that Cher actually chose Lala, because I would love to see a show or a family or a Senegalese man choosing for the opposite of what everyone else wants him to choose, you know, because I mean, he already talked a bit of sense into Lala. And I think that it was a really good choice for Mariam to talk with Maitresse, because she seemed like she could have been convinced. And that was only because she saw a part of Mariam that she has never shown anyone. She was never that vulnerable, and she never opened up about her past, her upbringing, and how she would love to be close with someone else and to have someone else teach her the ways of life. And I thought that was really beautiful. And the only person that I see as a problem right now is Biram. But then again, Biram is not someone who we can take into consideration because his life choices are very questionable. And in the end, he also still does not have a wife because he semi-divorced Jalika. However, when he saw Dalanda at the store, he was he was acting like he was a bachelor. So it's like really questionable. Like, yeah. And I really want to know how this is going to continue. And tonight will be another episode. I want to know how Marié is going to pick herself up and whether she is the Senegalese woman that the business partner or Salif Traoré is always talking about. And I want to know what he will do whenever he finds out about her internet scandal. And also I want to know what he will do if he finds out that she is actually Cher's wife. And what else? I want to know how the thing between Dalanda and Tyro is going to work out, because I have the feeling that he is going to introduce a second wife to the family, because I know for sure that on the night of his birthday that Jalika actually put in something in the works so that they could do something together, but write it off as an emergency. And I want to know if I'm right. So I'm not gonna talk too much. Thank you guys for watching. I definitely still enjoy watching Maîtresse and I. If you guys have any questions, you can ask them below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I guess I'll see you guys when we go and talk about episode 12.